Chapter 351. As night fell, the lanterns were lit. All the main cast, partners, and media started to enter the venue. In the huge banquet hall, all the crew members had a proud expression on their faces. Oh my God, this is so cool. Have you ever seen such a grand and flashy end-of-production banquet? I need to take a few photos and post them on my WeChat. Ha ha ha, I'll do a live broadcast. I think I can earn a lot of tips. It's all thanks to Shuelua this time. Where's Shuelua? Is she here? What's the hurry? The main character has to be the finale. As soon as he finished speaking, Ning Shuelua, who was dressed in a white fishtail dress, walked in gracefully while surrounded by the media. Fangya and the others immediately went up to her. Fangya held Ning Shuelua's arm intimately. Shuelua, you're here. You're so beautiful today. Ning Shuelua glared at her, her face glowing. No way, it's just like any other day. The others around her also complimented her. Shuelua, your dress looks so good. It's gorgeous, and it suits your figure. Damn, what do you know? It's not the dress, it's the nourishment of love. Someone teased. Ning Shuelua covered her face. You're so annoying. You're laughing at me again. Fangya deliberately used a spoon as a microphone. Miss Ning Shuelua, I'd like to interview you now. How does it feel to have such a perfect boyfriend? Ning Shuelua looked sweet. Stop fooling around. By the way, eat more tonight. Su Yin specially invited a 3-star Michelin chef from Fragrant City. The crowd exclaimed, Wow, Michelin, and 3-star. Oh my God, your Su Yin is inhumanely rich. How much did this meal cost? A 3-star Michelin chef from Fragrant City? Oh my God, could it be Fei William? Ning Shuelua listened to everyone's exclamations and looked in Ning Shi's direction casually. Then she answered casually, It's him. I saw it on a magazine the other day and just mentioned it casually. I didn't expect Su Yin to really invite him. As soon as she said that, the group of girls around her couldn't take it anymore. Roar. Please forgive us, a group of single dogs. Stop showing off your love. Come on, even those with a girlfriend can't stand them showing off their love. Okay? Ning Shuelua glared at them. You're so annoying. I'm not talking to you anymore. You guys have fun. I'll go over there. Yes, yes, yes. If you don't want to talk to us, go find your Su Yin. Xiao Tao, who was sitting in the corner with Ning Shi, was so angry that she almost bent her spoon. Damn it, damn it, damn it. It was the god of cookery, Fei William. My biggest wish is to be able to eat a meal personally cooked by him. I didn't expect to eat it under such circumstances. I've lost my appetite. Fei William. Hearing that name, Ning Shi was in a trance. Yeah. Xiao Tao wiped her saliva and said excitedly, Even if you don't know Fei William, you should know Apasa, right? The executive chef of Country F's top Michelin star restaurant. Fei William is his direct disciple. He's extremely famous, and it's extremely difficult to invite him. Just a single meal from him would cost an ordinary person their entire fortune. Hearing that, Ning Shi didn't speak. Of course she knew Fei William. Many years ago, there was a period of time when she liked to watch the Chef King competition. Her favorite was this chef named Fei William. Every day after school, he would come back and wait in front of the TV, drooling. At that time, Su Yin teased her and said, on the day of their wedding, he would invite Fei William to cook for them. It was really unbearable to look back on the past. Chapter 352. Before the banquet began, the producer, director, male lead, and female lead went up to the stage to give a speech. After everyone had finished speaking, the MC returned to the stage. Today, there is another gentleman who would like to borrow our stage to say a few words. Everyone, please welcome him. Oh, realizing that Su Yin was going to propose, the crowd cheered and screamed. All the media set up their equipment, and everyone took out their phones to record. The atmosphere was extremely lively. Not far from Ning Shi's left, Ning Shuelua looked at the man who was slowly walking up the stage. Then, she smiled at Ning Shi mockingly. Su Yin was wearing a white suit today, which matched Ning Shuelua's white fishtail dress. They looked like a couple's outfit, and they were a perfect match. Su Yin picked up the microphone shyly. Ahem, sorry. I'm a little nervous. Let me calm down. The crowd chuckled and waited patiently. After 3 seconds of silence, Su Yin looked in Ning Shuelua's direction affectionately and spoke with a voice as gentle as the spring breeze. Shuelua, 5 years ago, I met you for the first time in your garden. You were wearing a white dress, and you were as beautiful as an angel. At that moment, I fell in love with you at first sight. When we met again, you were wearing a sky blue school uniform, and you called me Brother Yin. At that moment, I promised to spend the rest of my life with you. In the past 5 years, from meeting to knowing each other, we've experienced laughter, tears, happiness, and setbacks. Fortunately, we're still together all the way. Girls couldn't stand this kind of scene. Many of them had tears in their eyes. Although Xiao Tao was unhappy with Ning Shuelua, she was touched by Su Yan's confession. At that moment, she suddenly realized that Ning Shi's expression wasn't right. Sister Shi, what's wrong? Are you okay? You don't look well. Are you feeling unwell? Ning Shi pinched her eyebrows. I'm fine. Heh, love at first sight and promised to spend the rest of his life. When Su Yin first met Ning Shuelua, they hadn't even broken up yet. Yet, he fell in love with another woman at first sight and promised to spend the rest of his life with her. Tears and setbacks? It seemed like she was their tears and frustration, a stumbling block on their path to true love. At this moment, Su Yin was holding a diamond ring and kneeling on one knee. Shueluo, marry me. Let me take care of you for the rest of your life. Okay. Promise him. Say yes. Shueluo. Say yes. Everyone at the scene was cheering for Su Yin. Ning Shuelua covered her mouth and sobbed. Everyone made way for her. Ning Shuelua walked step by step towards Su Yin on the stage. She nodded slowly under Su Yan's nervous gaze. I agree. Oh. Kiss me. Kiss me. Kiss. Kiss. Amidst the cheers of the crowd, Ning Shueluo looked down at Ning Shi, who was drowned in the crowd below the stage. We are all looking forward to it. Biffed. Speaking of which, will that Jiaoxi really send a truck full of cornbread? I've never eaten cornbread before. I'm going to widen my horizons today. Some people were taking photos, some were recording the live broadcast, and all of them were waiting to watch the fun. In the corner, Xiao Tao had already secretly cried because she couldn't stand the humiliation and self-blame. Ning Shi couldn't stand girls crying, so she anxiously comforted her. At this time, a busybody reporter noticed Xiao Tao's gaffe and impolitely put the camera close to Xiao Tao's face. Just as Ning Shi was about to scold the reporter with a bang, the door of the banquet hall was suddenly pushed open from the outside. Everyone subconsciously looked up at the same time, only to see the hotel owner dressed in formal attire, personally standing at the door, and behind him was a tall, mixed-blood man. Sob. Author has something to say. This bullshit was supposed to be in the author's got something to say chapter, and it wasn't supposed to be a paid word count. I don't know why author has something to say swallowed it and refused to show it. Therefore, I can only put it at the end of the chapter. I'll delete it before its paid word count. Chapter 355. Why is there another chef? Fangya was confused when she saw the man in a chef's uniform. She asked, "Who knows this chef?" Hearing that, everyone in the hall shook their heads and looked confused. They were not food journalists, so they didn't know who he was. Only Ning Shi, who was sitting in the corner, changed her expression. Why did this foreign chef look like a passa? He was the master of Fei William, the god of food. But Ning Shi wasn't sure, so she didn't say anything. Maybe they just looked similar. Distinguished guests, I'm here to prepare a banquet for Miss Ning. The foreign chef said. Prepare a banquet? Strange. Is it for Shueluo? But isn't the head chef Fei William? Where did this chef come from? Ning Shuelua looked at Su Yin, who was also confused. She suddenly thought of something and reminded Fangya. They're probably here for Ning Shi. Fangya was suddenly enlightened. She burst out laughing and shouted at the top of her lungs, "Ah, so this is the chef who prepared the banquet for our great beauty Ning. Is this the surprise that Diao Ci's suitor prepared for our beauty Ning?" Haha, it's really a surprise. Hearing Fang Ye's words, the actors immediately understood. They looked at Ning Shi and sneered. Sure enough, there would be no harm without comparison. This comparison, this damage, it was simply tons upon tons. Su Yin invited Fei William, the Michelin master who was known as the god of food. What did Ning Shi's suitor prepare? Which small restaurant hired this chef? He even specially found a foreigner. He must have put in a lot of effort. Ha ha ha, Diao Si's suitor is really creative. He has the same idea as Su Yin. But if you don't have the ability, don't make a fool of yourself. Hey look, that chef actually brought his own equipment. Could it be that he wants to cut his own ingredients? He really is a great chef. As soon as he said that, everyone burst into laughter. There were even a few actresses who laughed so hard that they cried. Although they knew that Ning Shi might make a fool of herself today, it was really a surprise. The foreign chef remained calm amidst the ridicule. He took out the equipment he brought with him. Anyone with a little knowledge of the industry could tell that it was an extremely expensive knife. However, although these knives were priceless, it was hard to see anything special about them from their appearance. Seeing that the foreign chef really brought his own knife, Fang Ye and the others laughed even louder. In the restaurant, the ridicule was endless. In the corner, Xiao Tao's face was completely red. She wanted to find a hole to hide in. Now, it was unknown how many pairs of eyes were looking at Ning Shi. No matter how much Ning Shi didn't care, she really couldn't bear it. In her heart, she had already cursed Ning Shi's filthy pursuer hundreds of times. It was already shameful enough, but now it became a huge joke. Just as Ning Shuelua was about to say something, the food reporters who had gone out with Fei William returned to the banquet hall with the prepared delicacies. The waiters carefully served the appetizer, scallops and white truffles, to everyone. Chapter 356. The food reporters were busy recording this scene. At this time, one of the food reporters inadvertently glanced at the foreign chef with a calm expression. In an instant, his mind went blank, as if a sudden clap of thunder had exploded in his head. He immediately forgot to take a picture, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Oh, God. Passa. I can't believe it. It's actually a passa. Why is Mr. A here? A passa. Who is that reporter talking about? I don't know. Who is he? Why is that reporter so excited? The guests who didn't know the truth looked at each other. At this time, all the food reporters saw the foreign chef, and everyone was excited. After they came back to their senses, they began to excitedly explain to the people around them. A passa, the current executive chef of Le Doyen Michelin 3 stars restaurant in F country, the recognized god of cookery in F country. Fang Ye's face was full of shock. That foreign chef is very good? How can he compare to our Fei William? One of the food bloggers looked at Fang Ye as if she was retarded. That Fei William said he's the god of cookery, but he can only call himself that in a place like Fragrant City. This Mr. A is Fei William's master, and he's the real god of cookery, do you understand? What? Fei William's master? Fang Ye's expression finally changed. The god of cookery in F country? That's amazing. Then why is he here all of a sudden? This kind of person can't be invited even if you have the money. It would take at least half a year to arrange, right? That's right. I remember, there was a heavenly queen who wanted to invite him to her birthday party last time. She said she could invite him no matter the price, but she didn't invite him. Her reason seemed to be that his level was too low. Is that for real? Which slut could invite such an awesome person? Behind the food reporters, Fei William, who was walking with big strides, inadvertently looked up and saw the foreign chef in the banquet hall. He suddenly showed an extremely shocked expression. After coming back to his senses, he quickly went up to greet him in fear and said, "Master." When Fei William said master, all the guests were dumbfounded. No one doubted that this foreigner was really Fei William's master. And nodded solemnly. You. Why are you here? Fei William was surprised. At this moment, a guest explained, Mr. A is also in charge of this banquet. He said it was prepared for Miss Ning. As soon as he finished speaking, the food reporters immediately let out cries of surprise. Fang Ye rolled her eyes, and a look of realization appeared on her face. She exclaimed, "Oh my God! Just now when Mr. Apasa said that it was prepared for Miss Ning, I thought that it was prepared for our great beauty Ning. So it was prepared for Xueluo? That's right, it's my fault for being stupid. Xueluo's surname is also Ning." The others chimed in. "That's right. Everyone made a mistake. How rude of us. We can't be blamed for this." Su Yin had already invited Fei William. Who would have thought that he would invite Fei William's master? "Xueluo, control your man. You can't abuse a dog like this." Looking at everyone's envious gazes, Ning Xueluo was also filled with surprise. She intimately held Su Yan's arm and shyly gave him a kiss. "Brother Yin, thank you. I'm really surprised, happy, and blessed today." Chapter 357. Su Yan's face stiffened. "Xueluo, this person is actually..." Ning Xueluo chuckled. "Yin Gij, don't be shy. I know how good you are to me." The others also teased him. "Hey, don't be shy. It's not like it's a shameful thing to dote on your wife. Just now, we thought that the suitor was hired by Ning Shi. Wishful thinking. Does he have that kind of fate? How can he be compared to our beauty, Xueluo?" "That's right. But Su Yan's surprise is too big. He gave us all a shock." "Isn't that so? Look at how excited those food reporters are. He even caused us to have a huge misunderstanding." Su Yin wanted to explain, but everyone kept praising him. Ning Xueluo's face was full of admiration, so he didn't have the chance to tell the truth. He really didn't invite that person. So, who could it be? Could it be that the hotel owner invited him to do him a favor? That's possible. He was relieved after thinking about it. He put on a humble expression and didn't refute everyone's compliments. In the corner, Xiao Tao's face was full of grief. "So what if you're rich? How infuriating. He even invited the chef. I don't want to eat it no matter how delicious it is." Ning Shi sighed and patted Xiao Tao's back to comfort her. At the same time, a trace of suspicion flashed in her eyes. She had also heard of the god of cookery A in country F. However, logically speaking, he wouldn't lower himself to attend such a small banquet even if he had booked it in advance according to his rules, caught his schedule, and paid enough money. How did Su Yin manage to invite him? Since the chef had come out personally, Fei William naturally gave up the main position and retreated to the second line. He consciously stood on the sous chef's position. There was an open cooking table in the banquet hall. It seemed like they were going to cook on the spot. It was a feast for both the eyes and the taste. Everyone in the banquet hall stared at it expectantly. They couldn't help but salivate, looking forward to a one-of-a-kind feast. However, for some reason, it did not walk to the chef's seat that Fei William had given up. Instead, he walked to the assistant chef's seat that Fei William had given up. "Master, what are you doing?" William looked confused. Looked at his disciple with a serious expression. "You can leave after this banquet. I will be your assistant." "What?" Fei William was shocked. You're going to be the assistant? Aren't you the head chef tonight?" "I'm not," I denied. Then who is the head chef tonight?" Fei William was completely dumbfounded. I replied respectfully, "You'll know when he comes." After saying that, he paused and looked at his disciple. "This is also a rare learning opportunity. Watch from the side later." Hearing this, Fei William's expression turned a little ugly. What kind of person was it that he didn't even have the qualifications to be an assistant and could only watch from the side? Chapter 358. Everyone was dumbfounded. What's going on? "I don't know. Looks like someone else is coming. I think it said that A is only the sous chef. The real head chef hasn't arrived yet." A food reporter looked like he was going crazy. "Oh my God. I'm going crazy. Even A can only be a sous chef? Who the hell is the head chef?" Another food blogger made a God-blessed gesture. "I'm already satisfied to be able to see this god in my life. Could it be that I'm lucky enough to see the legendary? Who is it?" Someone asked in confusion. "Who else can make a sous chef?" The food blogger revealed a secretive expression. The other food reporters and food lovers thought of that person at the same time. They were all in disbelief. That's impossible. I think it's impossible too. There's no way we can invite that person. Otherwise, I'll swallow this wine glass. Then I'll swallow a spoon. Time passed by, and about 5 minutes had passed. The banquet hall's doors finally opened again as the guests waited anxiously. The leader of the group was a foreign old man dressed in a neat chef's uniform. Behind him was a well-trained team. The old man walked in at a steady pace. When the hotel owner saw him, he hurried over and greeted him politely. He reached out his hand excitedly. "Mr. Daniel, you're finally here. Everything is ready on our side. We're just waiting for you." The old man nodded slightly and shook hands with the owner politely. He then walked straight to the head chef. Who was at the sous chef's seat, bent down and gave the old man a 90-degree bow. He then personally helped him put on his apron and prepared some lemonade for him to wash his hands. When Fay William, who was idling in the corner, saw the old man, his eyes almost popped out of their sockets. He could not close his mouth for a long time. Master Daniel, how is that possible? Am I dreaming?" After saying that, he pinched himself exaggeratedly and grimaced in pain. Master Daniel had always been his idol since he entered the industry, a holy scripture in his heart. Not to mention observing from such a close distance, even if he could see it from afar, he would have no regrets in this life. His unwillingness and reluctance had all turned into joy at this moment. In the banquet hall, those who claimed that they would swallow their cups and spoons just now were all dumbfounded. "Motherfucker, someone pinch me. Pinch harder. I'm definitely dreaming." "It's better if you pinch yourself. I've already pinched myself a few times. Her thighs are already purple from my pinching. It's not a dream." "Who is this old man?" Fangya asked curiously. The other crew members who didn't know much about him also came up to him. "Yeah, who is this? More powerful than William's master?" One of the senior food reporters stared intently at the old man's every move and explained in a respectful tone, "If William Fay is the leader of the younger generation of food practitioners, then his master Apasa is the mainstay of the food industry, representing the highest level of the food industry today. What about Daniel?" Someone immediately asked. Chapter 359. Daniel Joseph, another food blogger sighed. "He's a textbook existence for every gourmet industry. He's the Bible in the eyes of gourmet lovers. He's an eternal classic, a treasure of Country F." The food journalist sighed. He was so excited that he was about to cry. "Everyone, eat and cherish it. This is the only time in your life." Fangya blinked. After saying so much, he's just awesome, right? The others also sighed. "I don't understand, but I think he's awesome. Anyway, I must eat more tonight. Luckily, I haven't eaten all day and purposely left my stomach empty." Fangya smiled and moved closer to Ning Xuelua to tease her. "Xuelua, your Su Yin really put in a lot of effort to propose. I think it's not enough for you to repay him with your body. Hurry up and get married and give him a baby." "Ha ha ha ha. That's right. That makes sense. And he has to give birth to a few more." Ning Xuelua stomped her feet in embarrassment. "Hey, you guys, stop talking nonsense. All right, stop teasing her." Su Yin looked at the little woman next to him with adoration. At this moment, he was completely convinced that the restaurant had invited the two masters to please the Su family, so he was at ease with everyone's flattery. "Io, that's heartache. It's too much. I can't stand it anymore." Fangya knocked on the plate and looked in Ning Shi's direction with a faint smile. Someone is pretending to be calm, but she must be so jealous that her liver is about to explode, right? Doesn't she always like to compete with our Xuelua? Let her continue. Pfft, I can't help it. Su Yin is really too ruthless this time. He's the god of cookery for 3 generations. Each of them is a legend of an era. He invited them all at once. As expected of the Su family, they have such a strong background. Ning Shi is good at pretending, but her little assistant is too inexperienced. Can't you see that she's about to cry? Hearing those people talking about her, Xiao Tao forced herself to hold back her tears. She didn't want to embarrass herself further. "Sister Shi, I'm sorry." Ning Shi hugged her. All right, you've said sorry so many times. Besides, even if someone has to apologize, it should be me. I'm the one who implicated you. I'm not strong enough now, not strong enough to let you not be wronged. Xiao Tao pursed her lips and couldn't help but sob as she threw herself into Ning Shi's arms and cried. Although the sudden change of moving from Long Manyun's side to Ning Shi's side made her feel indignant, she still liked Ning Shi very much. Although Long Manyun was a big shot, she was too aloof and wasn't easy to get along with. Unlike Ning Shi, she didn't put on any airs when interacting with her and was especially good at making people happy. It was clear that she should be the one comforting her, but she was the one comforting her instead. Fortunately, Mr. Daniel was about to start cooking, and everyone's attention was on him, so no one noticed Ning Shi and the others. Actually, the current situation tonight was already the best situation for Ning Shi. Although she would receive some supercilious looks, but at least there weren't any big problems that she couldn't solve. But she was still a little uneasy in her heart. With that fellow's bad taste, since he said in the letter that he was going to do some surprise, it was impossible that he didn't do anything. Tonight, she was afraid that it wouldn't be so easy to pass it peacefully. AI, Oscar bless me, please don't do anything funny. Otherwise, if that bastard really dared to ruin her career, she definitely wouldn't let him have it easy. Chapter 360. At this time, on the main stage, Ning Shuelua, who was complacent, rolled her eyes and thought of something. The corners of her mouth rose slightly. Then she looked at Ning Shi in the far corner and said in a soft voice, "Ning Shi, can you come over here?" Hearing Ning Shuelua's invitation, Fang Ya and the others were confused. Why did she ask that woman to come up? However, since it was Ning Shuelua's request, they wouldn't disagree. Xiao Tao glanced at Ning Shuelua and said angrily, "Sister Shi, let's go. Otherwise, others will think that we are afraid of her. What can she do in front of so many people?" It was not good to refuse directly on such an occasion. Besides, there was a live broadcast in the hotel. Ning Shi narrowed her eyes. After so many years of fighting, she could guess some of Ning Shuelua's bad intentions. So Ning Shi didn't hesitate. She stood up slowly, walked to the main stage calmly, and stood in front of Ning Shuelua. Seeing the two of them standing side by side, some of the actors in the crew sneered secretly. This scene was really interesting. If Ning Shi's admirer sent a so-called surprise later, it would be even more perfect. Ning Shuelua invited Ning Shi to sit beside her warmly, and then said, "Ning Shi, I heard that you're very interested in the top gourmet masters in the gourmet circle. The position just now is not good. You can see them more clearly from here. You can't see those masters usually." After Ning Shuelua said that, she held Su Yan's arm naturally and leaned on Su Yan's body. They looked very intimate. Ning Shi smiled politely and didn't say anything. She knew that Ning Shuelua didn't ask her to go on the stage with a high-end plot. It was just to disgust her. "Humph, I don't know what you're feeling, but you look so calm. What a good actress." Fang Ya sneered at Ning Shi, while the rest of the crew members whispered to each other and occasionally looked at Ning Shi with amusement in their eyes. What kind of surprise do you think Ning Shi's suitor will give us? If he doesn't come soon, our banquet will be over. Who knows? Don't guess what he's thinking. Ha ha ha, let's enjoy the feast first. Don't lose your appetite later. Otherwise, you'll suffer a great loss. Then, under the devout gazes of the guests, Mr. Daniel paused for a moment before he started cooking dinner. He suddenly turned to the guests and spoke in fluent Chinese. "Tonight, I am extremely honored to be invited to attend the banquet of the beautiful and honorable Miss Ning. I will cook a delicious dinner for you, your friends, and your distinguished guests." With that, the old man bowed to Ning Shi and Ning Shuelua in a very gentlemanly manner. "Beautiful and noble Miss Ning, I wish you a good night." Ning Shuelua smiled happily and nodded at the old man. Seeing this, the old man frowned and was a little confused. He was talking to Miss Ning Shi. Why did the woman next to her keep nodding to him, however? The old man didn't care too much. His task was to prepare the banquet. As for the rest, it had nothing to do with him. Chapter 361. Soon, The first dessert with A as the sous chef and Mr. Daniel as the head chef was ready. Beautiful and honorable Miss Ning. The Chinese name for this dessert is Premium Frozen Chocolate Ice Cream Sundae. Although the name is a little complicated, you can try the taste first. With that, Mr. Daniel personally carried the dessert to the main stage. The food reporters were going crazy. Not only did Daniel make it himself, but he also gave it to them. It was such an honor. I didn't expect it to be that kind of dessert. Damn it. Is he going to defy the heavens? There are almost 30 types of cocoa in the sundae. 14 of them are the most expensive and delicious cocoa in the world, and there's even edible gold on the sundae. It's not dessert, it's all money. Some food reporters had only heard about it, but it was the first time they saw it with their own eyes. Moreover, it was made by Danielle, so they were very excited. Most girls like this kind of delicate food, and Ning Xuelua was naturally attracted by the dessert in Danielle's hand. Seeing Danielle walking over gracefully, her heart beat faster, and from time to time, she looked at Ning Shi with a meaningful smile. Thank you. Su Yin was very attentive. He reached out to take the dessert in Danielle's hand. However, Danielle didn't buy it. He said seriously, Sir, I'm sorry, this is a special dessert. It's not for you. Ugh. Ning Xuelua chuckled when she saw Su Yan's awkward face. She pulled Su Yan's arm and said, Brother Yin, it's fine. Let Mr. Daniel give it to me. Brother Yin, you don't have to join in the fun. Su Yin smiled helplessly and moved away. He thought that the top chefs were a bit weird, so he let them be. When Danielle walked to Ning Xuelua, she immediately smiled sweetly and said, Mr. Daniel, thank you. After that, Ning Xuelua reached out to take the plate of tempting ice cream. However, at the very next second, Mr. Daniel's actions exceeded everyone's expectations. Mr. Daniel was confused. He stared at Ning Xuelua and said, Miss, I didn't prepare the desserts for you. Not for me. Ning Xuelua was surprised. Then who is it for? Didn't you say? Miss Ning? Sorry, the Miss Ning I mentioned is Ning Shi. Miss Ning. Daniel's tone was firm. He didn't even look at Ning Shui. He bypassed her and walked straight to Ning Shi under countless surprised gazes. Beautiful and noble Miss Ning, please have a taste. The old man probably didn't do it on purpose, but the words beautiful and honorable seemed to be deliberately emphasized in the ears of the others, as if to say that only Ning Shi was worthy of these two adjectives. Even Su Yin and Fang Ye were dumbfounded, let alone Ning Xuelua. After the old man finished speaking, there was a dead silence. After a long time, sporadic sounds could be heard from the crowd. Are you kidding me? Miss Ning is not Ning Xueluo, but Ning Shi? No way. How could such a thing happen? Is it a prank? Did he deliberately want to make a fool of Ning Shi and let her be surprised and excited first? Are you kidding me? Would such a big shot do such a prank? It's really Ning Shi. Are you kidding me? A and Danielle, these two great gods, are both here for Ning Shi? Chapter 362. After being surprised for a long time, there were still many people who didn't believe it. That's impossible. There must be a mistake. How could it be for Ning Shi? Who does she think she is? How could she invite such legendary figures? Yes, Faye William only needs to spend money, but these two are definitely not people who can be invited with money. Ning Shi is just a third-rate actress. How could she invite such people? Just then, someone in the crowd reminded them weakly, did you forget one thing? Fang Ye said in the love letter that she was going to prepare a surprise for Ning Shi. Could it be this? Hearing this, everyone was dumbfounded. No way. Isn't that a poor girl? Who said he's poor? We've been making wild guesses all along, okay? Now think carefully about what was written in the love letter. The most honorable, most tempting, most irresistible gift. The world's top food. It fits perfectly. Hearing this, everyone revealed an expression of sudden realization. You don't say, it's really true. Everything will make sense then. Now that I think about it, that love letter is actually quite cute. It's quite cute, but I don't know why so many people think it's weird. Speaking of this, everyone began to look at each other. In this case, the two great figures who came later were the surprise prepared by Ningxi's pursuers, not Su Yan's for Ning Shuelua. Ahem, this is a big mistake. We all thought it was prepared by Su Yan. Ha 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 ha. Ning Shuelua happily promised to marry him several times, and even gave birth to several children. Finally, she invited Ningxi to sit at the main seat and watch them closely. But it turns out to be a misunderstanding. Oh my God. It's so embarrassing. After the old man finished speaking, Ning Shuelua sat on the chair in a daze, her nails clenching into her palms. She almost thought she had just heard it wrong. It was only when she heard the mocking words that she had no choice but to accept the truth. She turned her head stiffly to look at Su Yan. Big brother Yin, you really didn't invite those two people? At this moment, Su Yan's expression was abnormally ugly. His tone was not very good as he said, Shueluo, I've already said it, it really wasn't me. It's you who didn't believe me. Ning Shuelua immediately glared at Fangya, who was on the other side. It was all because of Fangya who had misled her. Fangya cowered a little further away. She had been talking nonstop just now, but now she didn't dare to say a word. Damn, he was blaming her again? How could she have known that something like this would happen? Wasn't your Su Yin very happy to be praised just now? He didn't even refute a word, and now you're blaming me? This bootlicking was too difficult, wasn't it? For a moment, everyone's eyes turned from Ning Shuelua to Ningxi, who was in the corner, and the way they looked at Ningxi was a little different. Although such a shocking thing had happened, Ningxi's expression was the same as before. From the moment she entered until now, whether she was ridiculed in public, to the old man's words, her expression had never changed. He was completely unperturbed and even had a hint of being unfathomable. Chapter 363. After seeing Ningxi's fitting room last time, I vaguely felt that Ningxi's background might be very powerful. Sure enough, her pursuers are really awesome. Fangya kept saying that Ningxi was jealous of Ning Shuelua. What's there to be jealous of? Exactly. She's single now and has a lot of high-quality pursuers. She's even better than Ning Shuelua. On the main stage, Mr. Daniel was still waiting for Ningxi's comment. Miss Ningxi, please comment. Ningxi took a bite under countless gazes and replied politely, "This is the most delicious and incredible ice cream I've ever eaten in my life. Thank you for coming all the way here. Thank you for your comment. It's my honor." Danielle left the main stage in satisfaction and began to prepare the dinner. Ningxi ignored the discussions around her. She never paid extra attention to people who weren't important to her. After accepting the old man's kindness, Ningxi returned to her seat. She held her chin and looked at Xiao Tao, who was completely stunned. She teased, "Xiao Tao, do you want to eat ice cream?" "Eat?" Xiao Tao suddenly came back to her senses and then blurted out resolutely, "Yes, I want to eat it." Xiao Tao looked at the ice cream Ningxi brought back excitedly and then stared at Ningxi blankly. "Sister Shi, these two masters, did they really come for you? He wasn't hired by Su Yan?" Ningxi looked helpless. Yes. Su Yan didn't invite them. Now can you be happy and eat something? You've been crying all night. Xiao Tao wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Sister Shi, why didn't you tell me earlier? You made me suffer for so long. There were so many delicious food and I didn't even get a bite. No, I have to eat more. No. I don't want Faye Williams ice cream. I want to eat something better. Humph." Then she swallowed and stared at the ice cream. "But can I really eat this ice cream? They all say it's very expensive." Ningxi directly picked up the pure gold spoon that was specially made for desserts, scooped a mouthful of ice cream, and fed it to Xiao Tao. Xiao Tao greedily inhaled the sweet scent that assailed her nostrils. She took a bite and said, "Oh, it's delicious. It's really delicious. How can there be such delicious ice cream?" Ningxi looked at Xiao Tao's chubby little face with a gentle expression. Then, she thought of something, and an imperceptible cold light flashed across her eyes. That bastard. He definitely did it on purpose. First, he deliberately mystified her so that she was constantly on tenterhooks. Then, When she was at her most nervous, he suddenly gave her a piece of candy, causing her mood to fluctuate as if she was on a roller coaster. Damn it. Was it that fun to play around with her? What was wrong with him? Not far away, Ning Shuelua heard the conversation between Ning Shi and Xiao Tao. Her heart was filled with anger and hatred. At this moment, Su Yan's romantic proposal became a joke. Who was the main character of this wrap-up party? Soon, the first appetizer was ready with Mr. Daniel as the head chef. Coincidentally, it was the same as Faye Williams' choice. It was also a scallop white truffle. Everyone looked at each other and began to focus on eating. Then, everyone's face revealed an incomparably strange expression. Chapter 364. Even though I'm a layman, I know the dishes made by the two masters are really so delicious. It's the same dish, but 100 times more delicious than the previous one. It's amazing. How did they do it? Can anyone explain it to us? We only know how delicious it is, but we don't know how to cook it. Where's the reporter teacher? Tell us. Yes. Come on, let's give a professional review. In the urging of the crowd, the senior food reporter was tasting the food seriously without saying a word. Then he shushed them and closed his eyes. Don't talk. I want to remember this taste. This is the only chance in my life. The performance of this senior food reporter was not too exaggerated. Several of his colleagues and many others at the scene had similar reactions. In the corner, Xiao Tao was eating happily. It's delicious. I also want to know why it's so delicious. Ningxi glanced at the truffles on the plate and said, first of all, it's because of the different cooking techniques. The cooperation of the two masters almost made such a simple dish perfect. Secondly, it's because of the difference in ingredients. You know, even the cleverest housewife can't cook without rice, so ingredients are also very important to cooking. If I'm not wrong, the white truffle this time comes from the world's best quality white pine tree, Alba. It's also known as the fruit of God, and it's extremely rare and expensive. Furthermore, only the essence of the tree has been extracted, so you can imagine the final result. Xiao Tao's eyes widened. No wonder it's so delicious. Oh my God, I feel like I'm eating gold. Then she looked at Ning Shi with admiration. Sister Shi, you know so much. Ning Shi smiled. Because I also like to cook, so I do some research. I'll cook for you when I have time, but I'm afraid you won't like my cooking after eating the master's dishes. How could it be? Sister Shi, you made it yourself. How can it be the same? When Ningxi was speaking, the people around her also pricked up their ears to listen. After listening, they all showed a look of sudden realization and then looked at the reporter for confirmation. The food reporter nodded repeatedly. It seems that Miss Ningxi is also knowledgeable. No wonder her pursuer didn't hesitate to invite two heavyweight masters. Other than Ning Shuelua, Su Yan, and Fang Ya, everyone enjoyed the meal very much. Su Yan's expression was extremely ugly. Tonight's wrapping-up banquet was originally prepared for Ning Shi, but in the end, it was stolen by an unknown suitor of Ning Shi. Su Yan subconsciously looked at Ning Shuelua. At that moment, Ning Shuelua's expression was so gloomy that it seemed like it could drip water. However, Su Yin could understand. If it was anyone else, they would probably mind. After all, this was a once-in-a-lifetime proposal. All the carefully prepared romance had turned into embarrassment. Soon, Su Yin gritted his teeth as if he had finally made a decision. He quietly walked to a secluded corner of the hotel and made a phone call. Dad, the situation is like this, so I want to ask Uncle Hiexun for a favor, otherwise, Shui Luo and I. Su Yan's expression wasn't good. It was obvious that the tone on the other side of the phone wasn't good. Chapter 365. On the stage, Ning Shuelua stared at Su Yin with a smile. She had already guessed why Su Yin called her. In the past few days, there was indeed a great god living in the Su family. He was the founder of the most famous high-end restaurant in China, Green Lotus. He had cooked delicacies for high-ranking officials in Great Britain, France, Germany, and so on. He was born in the family of the god of cooking. When he was young, he was even gilded in several countries. In recent years, he had disappeared and rarely appeared in public. However, such a master cookery had a close relationship with the Su family. It was because of He Xian that Su Yin was able to ask Fei William for help. Su Yin did not dare to do anything to He Xian because of He Xian's identity. However, the current situation forced his father to ask He Xian. It was not only because of Ning Xuelua, but also because of Su Yin and the Su family. After a while, Su Yin finally put on a smile. Ning Xuelua, who was in the distance, had a cold glint in her eyes. She was slightly relieved. Judging from Su Yan's expression, his father must have been convinced. Only Su Yan's father could invite someone like He Xian. Su Yan's father was studying abroad when he was young, and he was He Xian's classmate. It was said that He Xian had helped He Xian a lot. As long as Su Yan's father asked, He Xian would definitely help out for his father's sake. As long as He Xian was here, even though he could not beat Danielle in cooking, his influence would not only be limited to cooking soon. Su Yin walked back to Ning Xuelua and smiled softly. Xuelua, don't be angry. There will be a bigger surprise later. Uncle He Xian will come and cook for you personally. Ning Xuelua was surprised. She shook her head and said, Yin, what are you doing? Why would I be angry? It's rare for my sister to be happy tonight. I don't want to compare with her, and I don't want to fight with her. I just want Yin to be by my side. Hearing this, Su Yin held Ning Xue in his arms and said in a softer voice, Xueluo, I know you don't like to compete with others, but tonight belongs to you. I won't let anyone steal your limelight. I don't think Xiaoxi will either. Just let her suffer a little. After Su Yin finished speaking, he sighed inwardly. Previously, because of Cui Kaijing's matter, he had indeed neglected and wronged Xueluo too much. After all, this was the girl that he was going to spend the rest of his life with. Tonight was such an important night. No matter what, he had to make her happy. In the end, Ning Xueluo nodded her head obediently. Her gaze fell on Ning Shi, who was still enjoying the delicacies. She sneered in her heart. Ning Shi, you want to fight with me? Tonight's banquet was extraordinarily lively. It even attracted a large number of reporters to surround the hotel. However, the hotel had temporarily increased a large number of security guards to prevent outsiders from entering. At this moment, Ning Shi was talking to Mr. Daniel about food ingredients and cooking. Mr. Daniel was very kind and patiently answered Ning Shi's questions like an elder. Thank you, Master Daniel. You're really amazing. Ning Shi was full of joy. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm afraid that some people won't agree, I might want to accept you as my disciple. Mr. Daniel teased like an old urchin. It was obvious that he liked this little friend who loved cooking very much. Just when Ning Shi was about to say something, a sudden cold snort spread through the whole place. Chapter 366. A bunch of Western worshipping fools. What's so good about that? It's not even half as good as our ancestors. The history of our Chinese cuisine is broad and profound, with a long history. Any of the 8 major cuisines is enough to defeat those foreigners in a second. Fangya stood on the main stage and sneered. Her words were too harsh, and someone couldn't help but refute. Beauty, you can't say that. Our food is naturally good, but Country F is also famous for its food. We can only say that each country has its own strengths. That's because you haven't tasted top-notch Chinese cuisine. Otherwise, let's see if you can still say something like that. Fangya looked at Ning Shi disdainfully and rebuked. It's because there are so many Western worshipping fools like you that our ancestors' things are gradually declining. Instead of supporting your own country, you all go and worship things from other countries. Shallow. Shallow to the extreme. Not only are you shallow, but you're also embarrassing yourself. In the corner, Ning Shi narrowed her eyes. She knew that Fangya would not have said those words. However, Ning Xuelua was behind Fangya. As expected, with Ning Xuelua's personality, she would not give up so easily. Now that Wyeth's surprise had surfaced, Ning Shi no longer had to be on tenterhooks. She no longer had any psychological pressure, so she ate leisurely as she watched them struggle. The atmosphere was initially good, but they did not expect a nationalistic youth like Fangya to suddenly appear. Everyone's expression was a little awkward, especially the two foreign chefs. They were fluent in Mandarin, so they naturally heard Fangya's words. For a moment, their expressions did not look too good. "We're having a wrap party tonight. We're acting in a Chinese costume drama. Why did you hire foreign chefs? What a joke." Fangya continued to mock them. Ning Xuelua looked very satisfied. She stared at Ning Shi and sneered. All of this was within her plan. Next, she just had to watch Ning Shi become the target of public criticism and wait for the letter from the top chef in China to arrive. Tonight, it would still be perfect. Gradually, some people on the scene began to agree with Fangya's words. They pondered and said, "Actually, what Miss Fangya said makes sense. The top chefs in our country are indeed very good. They are not inferior to those two foreigners at all." Let's talk about Mr. He Xian. As the founder of the top restaurant in China, Green Lotus, he has been invited by the leaders of various countries. This is enough to prove that our Chinese chefs are the best and not inferior to Western chefs. It's not just a letter of congratulations. There's also a legendary figure in the world of chefs in Cathay, Old Master Kai Fengxian. His ancestors were all royal chefs who cooked for the emperor. It's not an exaggeration to say that his culinary skills have been improved by his ancestors. It's not even an exaggeration to say that he has reached the acme of perfection. He's even been cooked by the Queen of England and given great honor. That's true. Old Mr. Kai Fengxian is indeed a legendary figure, but it's impossible to invite him. It's simply impossible. It's just a waste of words. Even if Mr. He Xian wanted to invite him, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens, okay? I don't think so. The romance and delicacy of a Western chef is something that a Chinese chef can never compare to. Nonsense. Western chefs are cold and flashy. How can they compare to us Chinese chefs who are full of humanity? Chapter 367. As the discussion went on, representatives who supported Western food and Chinese food began to speak out one after another. Not only those who knew about Western food, but even those who didn't were patriotic. So more and more people joined in the debate, and in the end, everyone was in a heated argument. Fei William was the most embarrassed one, because he was a mixed blood and didn't know who to support. Seeing that the two factions were quarreling, the time was ripe. Ning Xuelua's eyes suddenly lit up, and she hurriedly glanced at Fangya. Fangya caught Ning Xuelua's gaze and immediately understood what she meant. She immediately stood up and said, "We'll know who's better after the PK. Ning Shi is so capable that she can even invite Mr. Daniel. It must be easy for her to invite a chef called He Xian, right?" "Yes. Let Ning Shi invite him. That's killing two birds with one stone. Then you don't have to quarrel. Facts speak louder than words." For a moment, everyone's eyes fell on Ning Shi. Ning Shi looked indifferent and didn't respond. Seeing that Ning Shi didn't say anything, Fangya naturally wouldn't let her go so easily. She continued to ask, "Ning Shi, what do you think? You invited him, and now everyone is quarreling because of him. You can't just stand by and watch, can you?" "That's right. A perfectly fine banquet has turned into such a mess, making everyone unhappy. Ning Shi has so many pursuers. Call them one by one. There must be a way, right?" Xiao Tao tugged at the corner of Ning Shi's clothes. "Sister Shi, can you ask your pursuer to invite Mr. He Xian?" Hearing that, Ning Shi took a look at Xiao Tao and gave her a cherry. She said lightly, "Xiao Tao, everyone has their own preferences. Some people like to eat radish. So does that mean that cabbage is inferior? If others like it, let them invite him. We just need to eat happily." "Oh." Xiao Tao didn't fully understand what Ning Shi meant, but she still nodded. She thought about it carefully and realized that she did talk too much just now. Who was He Xian? In the world of Chinese chefs, he was second only to Mr. Kai Fengxian. How could he invite him? He didn't even know how he managed to invite Mr. Daniel, and now he had to ask for a congratulatory letter. This was simply unrealistic. "All right, I'm just asking. Actually, I don't think it's possible either." These people are too much. Thanks to you, I got to eat so much delicious food. It's fine if they don't feel grateful, but in the end, they're even making things difficult for you. Xiao Tao was annoyed. After complaining, she murmured, "By the way, it's impossible to invite Mr. He Xine. It's just Fangya and the others who are making a fuss and trying to make Sister Shi lose her limelight. What do you think, Ningxi? Your pursuer is so capable. By the way, ask him to invite Mr. He Xine here, so that we can broaden our horizons." Hearing Fang Ya's suggestion, many people agreed, but most of them still found it unbelievable. Are you kidding me? It's hard enough to invite Danielle, and now you want to invite a congratulatory letter? What's more, you're inviting him over right now without an appointment. You must be dreaming. I thought it was a taxi, waving my hand and coming over. Ningxi's pursuer may have some background, but it can't be exaggerated to this extent. Chapter 368. Actually, Ningxi is quite pitiful. She managed to suppress Ning Shuelua's limelight with much difficulty, but this kind of accident happened. Someone whispered. Fangya said faintly, "Who can she blame? Who asked her to be so pretentious?" Su Yin proposed to Shuelua, but she didn't let it go. She had to jump out and make her presence known. "Look for him. Why aren't you looking for him now? We're all waiting." "What do you think, Beauty Ningxi? Say something. Are you going to invite him or not?" Fangya became even more arrogant when Ningxi kept quiet. "Forget it." At this moment, Ning Shuelua, who was on the main stage, suddenly said. Immediately, everyone's eyes fell on Ning Shuelua. "Since everyone wants to try Mr. He Xian's cooking, let Brother Yan and I invite him. Don't make things difficult for Ningxi," Ning Shuelua said softly. Hearing this, everyone came to a sudden realization. The meaning behind Ning Shueluo's words was also very clear. Ningxi's suitor could only invite Danielle for him. Was it even possible to invite a congratulatory letter? No one thought that Ningxi's pursuer had the ability to do so. "Wait, Shuelua, you mean you and Su Yin are here to invite a congratulatory letter?" Suddenly, a food reporter came back to his senses and exclaimed, "Yes, I believe everyone will be able to see Mr. He Xine in a while." Ning Shuelua's face was full of confidence. Her previous unwillingness and disappointment had completely disappeared. "Oh my God, Shuelua, I can't believe you could invite Mr. He Xine. Am I dreaming?" Fangya pretended to have an exaggerated expression and almost danced with joy. "Well, don't worry. Tonight is not only the banquet, but also my engagement day with Brother Yin. So, Brother Yin and I will try our best to satisfy everyone's request," Ning Shuelua said elegantly. As Ning Shuelua's voice fell, the crowd was in an uproar. Everyone was extremely excited. Since Ning Shuelua had said so, Mr. He Xine should be coming. Tonight, not only would they be able to taste Mr. Danielle's top-notch Western food, but they would also be able to see Mr. He Xine. This was something that they wouldn't even dare to think about on a normal day. At most, in a few breaths, the hotel door opened. Countless exclamations could be heard from the reporters outside. A middle-aged man in a traditional Chinese suit slowly walked in. "Congratulations, congratulations. It's Mr. He Xine. It really is Mr. He Xine. Su Yin and Shueluo really invited Mr. He Xine over. Holy shit." The food bloggers were so excited that they lost their composure when they saw He Xine. "Uncle He Xine, thank you for coming." Su Yin and Ning Shuelua walked up to them respectfully. "Yes." He Xine looked at Ning Shuelua and Su Yin and nodded. He had heard about what happened tonight from Su Yan's father. "First of all, congratulations. I don't have much time. Let's get started," He Xine said to Su Yin and walked straight to Danielle. "Hello, Mr. Danielle. I didn't expect to meet you here," He Xine said with a smile. "Oh, Mr. He Xine, I've long heard of your name. You're a top chef in China. It's my honor to meet you today." Mr. Danielle was also very polite. He Xine's culinary skills might not be as good as Danielle's, but He Xine's culinary skills were not limited to that. After all, He had been invited by the executives of various countries and was praised countless times. In terms of status, he was definitely not inferior to Danielle. "May I borrow this place?" He Xian asked with a smile. Chapter 369. Danielle thought about it. He had just finished cooking the main course, so there was no reason for him to take over the chef's seat. In the end, he nodded. "All right, my mission is over. I'll give up my seat to you." Danielle then led his team to the VIP area and gave up his seat to He Xian. Everyone exclaimed when they saw Danielle giving up his seat. They thought that Danielle was admitting defeat. "Mr. Danielle, isn't it inappropriate for us to give up our seat? He Xian's culinary skills are not as good as yours. Mr. Danielle definitely has the upper hand in every aspect." A frowned. "Our main course is done. There's no reason for us to take up the seat." Danielle did not seem to care. Since Danielle said so, I naturally did not say anything else. After all, at Danielle's level, he would not care too much. In less than half an hour, He Xian had finished cooking a few unique Chinese delicacies. The rich fragrance immediately spread to every corner of the hotel, causing many people to drool. "Miss Shueluo, my blessings for you and Su Yin are all in the dishes," He Xian said to Su Yin and Ning Shuelua, who were in front of him. "Thank you, Uncle He Xian." Ning Shuelua was smiling. Su Yin was the same. Due to He Xian's arrival, all the awkwardness and unwillingness from before were no longer there. The one who should be feeling unwillingness should be Ning Shi. How blissful. Even Mr. He Xian came to congratulate Su Yin and Shueluo's engagement. He's the top chef in China, unlike someone who tried to hire a foreign chef, only to be defeated by our Mr. He Xian. Fangya purposely looked in Ning Shuelua's direction and sneered. "All right, don't spout nonsense." Ning Shuelua stopped her. "I'm not spouting nonsense. The truth is, Ning Shuelua's suitor wants to compete with your brother Su Yin." "What a joke. I don't know where your confidence comes from." Fangya regained her arrogance and stared at Ning Shi, mocking her. "That's right. We can only hire a foreign chef. If you're so capable, invite a top chef in China to take a look." How dare you compare yourself to Su Yin? You're so full of yourself." Fangya and the other members of the crew started chattering nonstop. In the distance, Ning Shi smiled and shook her head. These people were indeed interesting. She even had a feeling that if she replied to them, she would be instantly assimilated and turned into an idiot. Mr. Danielle is an external chef after all. He can't be compared to Mr. He Xian in China. Indeed. Although Mr. Danielle's Western cuisine is the best in the world, I still prefer our Chinese cuisine. If you like Chinese delicacies, that only proves your taste. I like Western cuisine. I feel that Mr. Danielle's Western cuisine is superb and unrivaled. What a joke. That was only the acme of perfection. Do you know what it means to be in a trance? Just as everyone was discussing and refusing to give in to each other, there was a squeaking sound. The door of the banquet hall was silently pushed open from the outside. Under the dazzling crystal lamp, a young man was supporting an old man as they stood at the door. The old man was dressed in coarse hemp clothes and had a head of white hair. He looked hale and hearty and had the demeanor of an immortal. At that moment, some of the guests were quarreling, some were mocking Ning Shi, and some were watching the show. The first person to notice the old man was a middle-aged man. He was arguing with the crowd, but he suddenly looked at the door and was speechless. Elder Kai." Chapter 370. In an instant, everyone followed the gaze of the indignant man. In the next second, everyone was stunned, especially Fangya, who had been mocking Ning Shi a second ago. Her expression was as if she had seen a ghost. That person is. That old man looks so familiar. Shit. He's Kai Fengxian. I'm not dreaming, am I? Someone rubbed his eyes. "What are you talking about? Are you sure you're not mistaken?" "No. It's Elder Kai. Mr. Kai Fengxian. I've seen him on TV." Someone exclaimed. I've seen the young man next to him on TV too. Isn't he Elder Kai's eldest son, Kaiching? If you don't believe me, I'll search for him online. National TV had previously produced a very popular food program which had once caused a gourmet craze. The last episode was dedicated to old Mr. Kai Fengxian, which left a deep impression on the people. Therefore, besides the professional food reporters, there were many who knew Kai Fengxian, including Fangya and the others. The young man couldn't contain his excitement. He was the first to greet her. Elder Kai, do you remember me? 8 years ago in Qing City, there was a small restaurant where you taught me personally. The old man pondered and said, Is it called Laifu Restaurant? Are you Laifu? The young man's eyes reddened. Yes, it's Laifu Restaurant. I'm Yuan Laifu. I didn't expect you to remember me. If it wasn't for your guidance, I wouldn't have made up my mind to leave my hometown to study. I wouldn't have achieved what I have today. Someone recognized the young man. Oh, I remember this man. He's quite famous. Isn't he the head chef of a high-class restaurant in the capital? I heard he worked his way up from a small village. I didn't expect him to have such a relationship with Elder Kai. Hearing this, everyone admired Elder Kai even more. Elder Kai really has students all over the world. That's her charisma. After sighing at Elder Kai, everyone was confused. Why would Elder Kai suddenly appear here? Elder Kai, why are you here? The young man asked excitedly. Father is here to celebrate with Miss Ningxi, answered Elder Kai's son, Kai Chung. As soon as these words came out, the entire place fell into a deathly silence. When everyone came back to their senses, their first reaction was to look at Ningxi in the distance as if they had seen a ghost. Fangya and the rest of the cast were stunned, including Su Yin. Ningxuelua's smile froze on her face. Damn, this Ningxi. Absolutely amazing. First it was the god of cookery, then it was the godfather of Western cuisine, Master Daniel, and now even Kai Fengxian, the founder of China's gourmet industry. I'm fucking convinced. Ha 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 ha. Did you see Fangya and Ningxuelua's expressions? Just a second ago, Fangya was acting like a snob, barking like a madman, and now old Master Kai is here. I'm dying of laughter. Ningxi is so tough. So what if he's acting tough? He has the capital to act tough. Moreover, he could really pretend to be dazzling. Out of these 3 people, which one of them didn't instantly turn Fei William into slack? Even Mr. He Xian can't do it. I'm so happy. This banquet alone is enough for me to make headlines for the next few months. Chapter 371. Hey, doesn't your news agency have a gourmet section too? Get your gourmet reporter here too. It's such a good opportunity. Yes, I'll call him right now. Our gourmet editor is a die-hard fan of Grandpa Kai. Even the desktop background of his computer is made by the old man. I told him that Fei William would be here tonight and that he had to come to report on the news, but he didn't care at all. If he knew that the old man would be here, he would definitely regret it. Ha ha ha. In the corner, Xiao Tao was so excited that she was shaking Ningxi's arm. Elder Kai. It's really Elder Kai. Sister Shi, you're amazing. Just like Doraemon, you can conjure up whoever you want. When on earth did you call? Why didn't I know? Ningxi was speechless. She hadn't even touched her phone. Okay? And what the hell was this Doraemon? When Kai Fengxian appeared, she was so shocked that she thought she was hallucinating, and she was sure that it wasn't YS who invited him. Regardless of whether he could invite him or not, that guy was only interested in messing with her. There was no way he would help her out. So who was it that helped her out? Could it be? Ningxi's heart skipped a beat. A certain man's cold profile appeared in her mind. The only person who could invite Mr. Kai Fengxian was probably. When he saw the two at the door, the hotel owner ran up to them and greeted them warmly. Elder Kai, why didn't you tell me you were coming? I could have sent someone to pick you up. This is really too rude. Kai Fengxian waved his hand nonchalantly. There's no need for that. Kaiching explained. My father was asked by someone to come at the last minute, so that's how it is. The hotel owner showed an expression of sudden realization and looked meaningfully at Ning Shi in the corner. When everyone heard this, they were even more certain that Ning Shi had asked someone to invite them. Otherwise, how could there be such a coincidence? So what? We have Mr. He Xian. Mr. He Xian is the best chef in China, Fangya said disdainfully. That's right. Mr. He Xian is the founder of China's best restaurant, Green Lotus. The other members of the crew also chimed in. At that moment, some food bloggers and food reporters looked at Fangya and the actors as if they were looking at pure idiots. They had some doubts before, but now they were sure that Fangya and the actors were indeed idiots. They were complete idiots. They did not know anything, but they were still pretending to be smart. This was the real shame. Grandmaster Kai. He Xian walked up to Kai Fengxian and greeted respectfully. Yes, we meet again. Elder Kai nodded. I didn't expect Grandmaster Kai to show up. Back then, I was reluctant to come here. But now, it seems I have come to the right place. If Grandmaster Kai has the time, I hope you can give me some pointers, He Xian said with a smile. When Fangya and the other actors saw He Xian's attitude toward Elder Kai, they were stunned speechless. Their expressions of shock and embarrassment were indescribable. On the other side, Danielle from the VIP seats walked straight towards Kai Fengxian. The two old men looked at each other for a long time, separated by a few steps. It took Danielle a long time to calm down. Old buddy, long time no see. Chapter 372. Kai Fengxian heaved a long sigh and looked nostalgic. Long time no see. It's been 10 years since we last met in Country F, right? Yes. I'm afraid we won't have another 10 years to live. It's rare for you to come to Country F. What do you think? We didn't decide the winner 10 years ago. Do you want to continue today? Kai Fengxian's eyes lit up. Of course. Danielle answered cheerfully. Hearing the conversation between the two masters, the boss of the hotel was excited beyond words. He had planned to make use of Su Yin and Ning Shuelua's proposal to make the hotel famous. This unexpected development made him ecstatic. A proposal banquet was not as good as a gimmick as a duel between the top masters of Chinese and Western cuisines at the Royal Duke Hotel in the capital. He had made a fortune this time. He had to thank Miss Ningxi properly later. She had been so quiet, but she had made such a big move. At this moment, a large group of reporters suddenly rushed into the hotel, and all of them ran in the direction of the banquet hall. The hotel's security guards and waiters stopped them. Where are you from? This is a private banquet. You can't come in without an invitation. I'm a reporter from XX Food Channel. I'm a photographer from XX Newspaper. I'm a contributing editor from XX Magazine. I heard that Mr. Danielle and Elder Kai are here tonight, so I came all the way here. Let us in. The reporters were all asking for help. The security guards and waiters looked embarrassed. No, we can't do that. We have our rules. Rules are made by people. Please make an exception. That's right. We're all qualified reporters. We're not ordinary tabloid reporters. You can ask your manager if you don't believe me. I'm sure he'll agree. Wait a minute. I'll ask him. There were too many reporters tonight. Although the hotel had added a lot of security guards, they couldn't stop the reporters' enthusiasm. One of the waiters hurried to ask the manager for instructions. It's a good thing for the hotel, but the two guests tonight are too important. We can't be careless. The manager couldn't make a decision, so he went to the boss. There are reporters outside, clamoring to come in. Boss, what do you think? The boss of the hotel was naturally happy to see that happen, but he couldn't make a decision on his own, so he went to discuss it with the organizers of the crew. After knowing the boss's intention, Wang Taihe, Guo Qixing, and the others discussed it for a while. They all felt that this was a good opportunity to promote the movie, so they agreed on the spot. Thus, all that was left was the opinion of the most important person involved. The hotel owner rubbed his hands, walked up to the two masters, and explained the situation to them. Then he asked nervously, "These reporters have come especially for the two of you. I wonder if the two of you are willing to be photographed." Danielle and Kai Fengxian looked at each other and then at Ning Shi in the corner. Danielle said, "I'm here for the beautiful Miss Ning Shi and her distinguished guests. As long as they are her guests, I have no objection." In other words, Danielle wouldn't allow them to film unless they were invited by Ning Shi as her guests. Well, the hotel owner looked troubled. He looked at Kai Fengxian and asked, "What about you, Elder Kai?" Chapter 373. I agree with Danielle, Elder Kai said. All right. Looks like I can only ask Ning Shi now. Thus, the hotel boss ran towards Ning Shi. "Miss Ning, you should have heard what Mr. Danielle and Elder Kai said. They will only accept your guest photos. There are so many reporters waiting outside. What do you think?" Ning Shi lowered her eyes and thought for a moment. Now that everyone was happy to see the result, if she rejected now, she would offend too many people. Actually, it was fine to give those reporters some face. But Ning Shi considered her words and said, "This banquet is for the wrapping up of Under the Heavens, not my personal banquet. Since producer Wang and director Wang have no objections, I naturally have no objections. However, Mr. Feng, I'll have to trouble you to screen the reporters outside. Only those with qualifications can come in. Also, one more thing. They must not disturb the order of the banquet. Otherwise, I'll have to ask them to leave. The two masters have come from afar, and everyone should not want any unpleasantness. What do you think?" Ning Shi's words were watertight, and Mr. Feng's eyes revealed a trace of admiration. He was the one who wanted this banquet to go smoothly the most, so he naturally agreed. Of course. I'll go and tell them now, and I'll send more security to maintain order. We will definitely not disturb the banquet and the two masters tonight." Soon, a large group of reporters came in. The reporters were cooperative. After all, they were professionals in the food industry. Just based on their respect for the two masters, they did not dare to act rashly. After thanking Ning Shi with their eyes, they all quietly found a corner to set up their cameras. A collision of Chinese and Western food culture had officially begun. Mr. Feng was anxiously arranging for people to prepare the dishes. The waiter hurriedly handed over a list. "Boss, these are the ingredients that the two masters need." Old Feng looked at it and was stunned. "Io, look at my brain. I forgot the most important thing. I did not expect this. Our hotel definitely does not have enough ingredients. Mr. Danielle has prepared his own ingredients, but now we need to change the menu. We still need a lot of other ingredients. And I'm afraid it's too late to transfer them now. What should we do?" The manager was also anxious. Seeing that the two masters had already started to prepare, but their hotel didn't have enough ingredients, the hotel owner was about to vomit to death. Seeing that the boss's expression wasn't right, the guests started to whisper to each other. "Hey, what's wrong with the boss? Why do you look so pale? It seems like there aren't enough ingredients." Because if they wanted to PK now, they would definitely need double the amount of ingredients. Moreover, the two masters have very high requirements for the ingredients. Ordinary ones definitely won't do. Damn, no way. We've been waiting for so long. Don't tell me it's going to be ruined? What's going on? Moreover, there are so many reporters here. We can't let them all go back because of this kind of mistake, right? This is hilarious. Humph, you'd better not. In the corner, Fangya whispered, but this time she had learned her lesson and did not dare to speak too loudly. Ning Shualua pretended to be calm on the surface, but she was actually very nervous in private. Naturally, she wanted nothing more than to fail. Chapter 374. However, it was destined that things wouldn't go as they wished tonight. Just as the hotel owner was about to vomit blood, a young waiter outside the door hurriedly ran towards him and whispered a few words in his ear. The boss didn't know what he heard, but he was shocked and quickly went out to greet the waiter. As soon as he reached the door, he saw 2 rows of well-trained waiters, each carrying fresh ingredients. It looked like they were flown in. Who was the culprit behind all this? Could it be? Could it really be? That was the only thought that flashed through the boss' mind. He didn't have time to think about anything else and quickly ordered them to bring it in. The ingredients were the most important. When piles of fresh and chilled ingredients were brought in, everyone was once again amazed. Ning Xuelua's heart finally snapped, and she fell into her chair with a deathly pale face. It's over. The rest of the time was a great torment for her. Every time a camera or mobile phone camera was pointed at her, her whole body would tense up. Tonight, she was supposed to be the center of attention, and today, she was indeed the center of attention, but she was treated as a joke. Danielle's sous chef was A, while Elder Kai's sous chef was her eldest son, Kai Cheng. The rest of the assistants were all elites they had brought with them. Both sides began cooking in an orderly manner. As time ticked by, the aroma of food began to waft through the banquet hall. Everyone was so tempted that they couldn't help but salivate. In the end, both sides made 10 dishes, 2 of which were desserts. Elder Kai's dish was hibiscus oatmeal rolls, golden champion shark wings, 5-flavor abalone, manhan pearl dumplings, royal red top swallow, Tai Chi divine cauldron, imperial ginseng, exquisite ice crab, purple potato cake, and poria durian cake. Danielle's dish was Hudson Valley duck liver sauce, herb roasted pigeon, braised abalone with jellyfish, honey sauce barbecue emperor, vinegar crispy vegetarian eel, begonia lobster, garlic oyster tempura, grilled vegetable peacock clams, plum champagne float, and Gruyere cheese puffs. Both sides had their own specialties, and they clearly represented the cuisine of their respective countries. A young actor who was recording a live broadcast pointed the camera of his mobile phone at the table of delicacies in front of him and unkindly said to his fans who were watching the live broadcast, "Babies, do you see that? Do you see that? I'm going to start eating. Just watch and enjoy yourself." Ah! The fans on the live stream wailed, releasing poison in the middle of the night, and it's a lethal poison at that. How unkind. I was so angry that I took out a bag of spicy sticks. Please point the camera at my goddess Ning. No, to be more precise, it's goddess she. I really want to see the goddess eat. Me too. The goddess is so cool tonight. Ha ha ha, that's right. I'll just quietly watch you act cool and never interrupt you. The next second, the camera focused on Ning Shi in the corner as everyone wished. Ning Shi was focused on tasting the food. She seemed to feel that someone was secretly filming her. She inadvertently raised her head, and out of politeness, she subconsciously smiled at the camera. Roar. He was cursed. I've been laughed at by the goddess. So beautiful that I'm crying. No wonder Mr. Danielle always emphasized the beautiful and honorable Miss Ning before. Only goddess she can bear these 2 adjectives. Ning Shi's dignity and elegance really come from her bones. I'm going to turn from a passerby to a fan. Chapter 375. Listening to the comments of the food critics, Xiao Tao, who was busy eating, mumbled, "Oh my God, they're all so delicious. It's so hard to choose. What about you, Sister Shi? Which one do you think tastes better?" Ning Shi rubbed her chin and said, "It's hard to tell which one is better. In terms of desserts and appetizers, Western food has always had an advantage over Chinese food. Mr. Danielle's desserts are exquisite like works of art and taste great, but Chinese food's main course is slightly better. Just like a food journalist said, Chinese food is more humane. Just from the names of the dishes, you can tell that each dish has a special meaning." Xiao Tao nodded. "You're right, it's really hard to tell which one is better. In the warm and peaceful atmosphere, in the extreme joy brought by the delicacies, the banquet gradually came to an end. After the party, Ning Shi went to the bathroom and Xiao Tao waited for her outside. She was browsing Weibo when someone suddenly called out to her, "Hello, are you Miss Ning's assistant?" Xiao Tao looked up and was surprised to see the hotel owner talking to her. "Yes, Mr. Feng, what can I do for you?" "Ah, it's like this. This is a small token of my appreciation for Miss Ning. If you don't mind, please accept it," Mr. Feng said, attentively handing over a card. Xiao Tao glanced at the gilded card. "This is," Mr. Feng explained, "this is our Royal Duke Hotel's Platinum card. Our Royal Duke Hotel has a total of 3 types of cards: silver, gold, and Platinum. The Platinum card is the highest level. Not only do you get a 40% discount, but you can also enjoy the most distinguished treatment. The hotel will specially reserve a room and a private room for Platinum cardholders, so no matter when you come, there will be a seat. When Xiao Tao heard this, a look of surprise appeared on her face. However, she restrained herself and didn't reveal too much surprise. After all, she had been by Lung Manyun's side and had seen this kind of thing many times. She knew that if she appeared too excited, it would cause others to look down on Ningxi. Right now, she was not only representing herself, but also Ningxi herself. So Xiao Tao said calmly, "But I didn't do anything to deserve it. Miss Assistant, you're too kind. It's all thanks to Miss Ning that our hotel is able to host two masters like Danielle and Elder Kai. We can't thank you enough." After Boss Feng finished speaking, a light flashed in his eyes. He lowered his voice and added, "I also ask Miss Ning to thank that lord for me." Xiao Tao blinked her eyes, her face full of confusion. "That lord? Who is it?" Xiao Tao didn't understand, so she skipped the question. "If that's the case, thank you for your kindness." Seeing that Xiao Tao didn't give him a clear answer, Mr. Feng was a little unwilling. However, it wasn't appropriate to ask this kind of question, so he could only nod and leave. Before he left, Mr. Feng turned his head and looked in the direction of the young assistant. He was even more suspicious. "TSK, I still can't get anything out of him. Was the person behind Ningxi the lord he had guessed? Forget it. No matter what, it's never wrong to be polite." As soon as Ningxi came out of the bathroom, Xiao Tao immediately stopped pretending to be reserved and skipped over happily. "Sister Shi, let me show you something." "What?" Ningxi asked suspiciously. "Royal Duke's Platinum card. Mr. Feng just gave it to me." Chapter 376. Mr. Feng? Why does he want to give us this? Thanks to you. This time their hotel got such a big hit for free and saved a lot of advertising fees. It's just a platinum card. It's not a big deal. Ningxi sighed. She really couldn't explain what happened tonight to anyone, so she could only acquiesce. "Okay, then you can keep it." "Ah, I'll keep it?" Xiao Tao looked surprised. "Of course, in the future, my matters in this area will be arranged by you, the little housekeeper. It's more convenient to leave it to you." Xiao Tao blushed and put it in her bag. Then I'll keep it for you." Pearl River Imperial View. After Ningxi returned to the apartment, the first thing she did was throw herself on the bed. Tonight was simply too tiring. Her heart was tired. She had been on tenterhooks since yesterday, and all kinds of unexpected situations happened one after another. Anyway, she had no strength left in her body at this moment. Just as he was about to fall asleep on the bed, the doorbell outside suddenly rang. Ningxi suddenly broke down. It was so late. Who could it be? She almost had a phobia of doorbell sounds. "Don't care." Ningxi lay motionless on the bed, but the doorbell kept ringing, as if urging her to die. She had no choice but to open the door with a gloomy face. As soon as she walked into the living room, she heard a sly voice coming from outside. "Little Cece, open the door. Little Cece, open the door. Little Cece, open the door." Ningxi opened the door and looked at Lu Jingli outside the door with blue veins popping on her forehead. "Second master, stop howling. What are you doing so late at night?" Lu Jingli immediately squeezed in and said excitedly, "Little Cece, you exploded." Ningxi rolled her eyes at him speechlessly. "You're the one who exploded." Lu Jingli walked back and forth in the living room like a madman, then quickly muttered, "Damn it, I really regret it. I regret it so much that my intestines are turning green." Ningxi pinched her eyebrows. "Stop pacing around. What are you trying to say?" Lu Jingli looked pained. "What I want to say is, why did I go to that boring business reception tonight? In the end, he missed such an exciting scene. Now I can only bitterly search for live streams on the internet." Ningxi was speechless. Of course it's because boring business cocktail parties can make a lot of money. Gossip is not as important as money. Lu Jingli retorted righteously on the spot. How can money be more important than gossip? Ningxi. Okay, I forgot that you are a tycoon. Money is just a number to you. To you, gossip is indeed more important. Lu Jingli clutched his chest. Furthermore, and Danielle tonight, there was also Kai Fengxian. Do you know how hard it is to have a meal with these two gods? I actually missed it. I missed it. I missed it. And he missed too with a single mistake. I'm so heartbroken that I don't want to live anymore. The corners of Ningxi's mouth twitched. Then you should rush to the Royal Duke Hotel. You might even be able to eat some leftovers. What are you doing here? Lu Jingli did not speak and just stared at her resentfully. Ningxi pinched her eyebrows helplessly. Okay, my boss. I know you didn't come, and I know you like it, so I specially saved it for you. Ningxi said as she took out a box of exquisite pastries from the fridge. I couldn't bring anything else, so I could only bring you a box of purple potato cakes. Chapter 377. Lu Jingli pounced on it. Ow! Sister-in-law, you're my sister-in-law. Ningxi's face darkened. Give it back to me if you talk nonsense again. Lu Jingli immediately hid far away with the cake. I'm not talking nonsense. Then he grabbed the cake and began to eat it. As he spoke, he did not forget to talk to Ningxi. Little Cece, learn how to make it. Then I can eat it often in the future. It's not difficult. I know how to make it, but how can it be compared to Elder Kai's? Don't even think about it. Ningxi poured cold water on him. Lu Jingli looked angry as he ate. My brother is too much. Ningxi was speechless. Why are you talking about your brother again? Lu Jingli gave Ningxi a meaningful look and then replied in a drawl. I don't know who invited Danielle, but I saw my brother run out of the party in the middle of Kai Fengxian's, so I personally called him to invite him. I begged him several times before, but he refused to help me. Ningxi was speechless. Kai Fengxian. Lu Tingxiao had invited him? Although she did suspect it for a moment, she did not expect it to be him. So, the emergency food was also arranged by him? Sure enough, his flawless style was exactly the same as that of the devil. Looking at Ningxi's expression, which was obviously seduced by his brother, Lu Jingli looked satisfied. Finally, of course, there was a more important question. After eating the purple potato cake, Lu Jingli moved closer to Ningxi and said in a tone that suggested he was trying to abduct a little girl. Little Cece, there's something I'm very curious about. My brother invited old Mr. Kai Fengxian. So who invited Danielle? Ningxi finally couldn't bear it anymore. Second young master, you won't get a wife if you continue to be so nosy. I didn't want to marry her. Lu Jingli replied in a matter-of-fact tone. Ningxi held her forehead. Tell me. I promise I won't tell anyone. Lu Jingli was persistent. Ningxi rolled her eyes at him. Who would believe him? Just when Ningxi was annoyed by Lu Jingli, her phone suddenly rang. Ding dong, ding dong. He casually picked it up and saw 2 new messages at the same time. He unlocked it and opened WeChat. The next second, after reading the 2 messages, Ningxi was dumbfounded. There were 2 new messages in WeChat. Frowny face YS. Is it good? Lu Tingxiao. Is it good? Ningxi. What's going on? Even the timing of the transmission was exactly the same, not even a second off. Before the shock on Ningxi's face faded, the phone rang twice in a row. YS. Which one is the best? This is a compulsory question. Underscore, Lu Tingxiao. Which dish do you prefer? Moreover, it was sent at the same time. Did they have to be so tacit? Lu Jingli noticed that Ningxi's expression was not right. He approached her with concern and asked, Little Cece, what's wrong with you? It's already so late. Who would send you a message? Ahem. Nothing. Ningxi was startled and quickly took back her phone. That was close. Lu Jingli almost saw it. Just in case, she'd better change the names of these 2 people. Ningxi rubbed her chin and thought for a moment. She avoided Lu Jingli and began to type to change the names. YS was changed to Cloud Radish. Lu Tingxiao was changed to Lu Bye Bye. Chapter 378. What kind of gaze did Lu Jingli have? When he was gossiping, he had a pair of fiery eyes. Therefore, with that glance just now, he had already roughly caught a glimpse of the content of the message. He immediately touched his chin meaningfully. Yes, it's that guy. TSK, very good. I've achieved my goal tonight. Of course, I can make it even better. So Lu Jingli began to jump around again. Xiao Cici, which of the two master's dishes do you think is better? This was the third time she was asked this question. Ningxi was about to break down. Don't ask me which one is better. It's such a double entendre, okay? It's not a compulsory question. It's a suicide question. Ningxi glared at him fiercely. Shut up. Don't ask anymore. It's late. You've eaten and you've gossiped. Go back. Otherwise, I'm going to tell your brother that you're still staying at my place in the middle of the night. Lu Jingli immediately took a few steps back in horror. Xiao Cici, how can you do this? You've become a bad person. So are you leaving or not? I'm calling him now. Ningxi raised her phone to threaten him. Lu Jingli's eyes were filled with tears. For his own safety, he quickly ran away. Seeing that Lu Jingli had finally left, Ningxi finally breathed a sigh of relief. She had been sleepy at first, but now that Lu Jingli and those messages had come, it seemed that she would not be able to sleep tonight. There were bound to be many people who would not be able to sleep tonight. Platinum Palace. Lu Jingli pushed open the door of the study and leaned against the door frame, panting. Brother, I'm back. In order to get some information for you, I risked my life to come back. Lu Tingxiao looked up from a pile of documents and glanced at the remnants of snacks at the corner of his mouth. Lu Jingli lifted his sleeve to wipe his mouth. Oh, it's my sister-in-law. She's so polite and even brought me a box of snacks. I didn't want to eat them, but she insisted. Lu Tingxiao, heh, brother, I've got some very important information. Do you want to hear it? After saying that, Lu Jingli rolled his eyes with a belly full of mischief. If you also ask Grandpa Kai to cook a meal for me, I'll tell you right away. Lu Tingxiao's response was to continue doing what he was doing, not even sparing him a glance. Fuck, brother, you really don't want to know? You really don't want to? Then I won't say any more. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. All right. For the sake of our brotherhood, I'll tell you directly. In fact, he couldn't hold it in for more than 3 seconds. Lu Jingli couldn't wait to start saying, Brother, let me tell you, the person who wrote that mushy love letter, prepared a surprise for little Cici, and invited Danielle, is indeed the man with the alphabet, YS, who doesn't dare to show his face. Oh, by the way, did you send a WeChat message to Cici just now? That guy actually sent a message to sister-in-law at almost the same time. Even the content was almost the same as yours. That's amazing. The two of you are too telepathic. Lu Tingxiao finally looked up at Lu Jingli, who was muttering to himself. There was an unfathomable undercurrent in his eyes. Lu Jingli sighed and murmured, Since that guy has already made his move, there will be a second time. This time, he hired a chef. Who knows, maybe the next time, he'll directly turn a person into a living person. Brother, I'm afraid it won't be easy for you to chase after your wife in the future. Chapter 379. As Lu Jingli spoke, the corner of his mouth revealed a sly smile. But you have two things that can instantly kill him. First, you'll be in a favorable position. It won't be easy for that guy to return to China. Second, it's definitely our Xiaobao. Lu Tingxiao's knuckles slowly tapped on the armrest. How's Xiaobao's enrollment going? Don't worry about me. He can enroll anytime. Ning family's villa. Aya, Shualua is back. Did you have fun tonight? Tell me. Zhuang Lingyu knew that Su Yin was going to propose, so she waited for her daughter to come back. Looking at Zhuang Lingyu's expectant face, Ning Shualua forced a smile. Mom, I'll tell you later. I'm a little tired, so I'm going to rest. Huh? Tired? Seeing her daughter enter the house and close the door, Zhuang Lingyu looked at her husband with a puzzled expression. What's wrong with Shualua? Ning Yaohua put down the newspaper in his hand. His intuition told him that something was wrong. So he called the maid who usually took care of Ning Shuelua. Master, you were looking for me? Ling, go and find out what happened tonight. Why did Miss lock herself in the house as soon as she came back? Ning Yaohua said in a low voice. Zhuang Lingyu chimed in. Yeah, and she doesn't look too good. Didn't Su Yin propose today? Logically speaking, she should be happy, right? Is she shy? At this moment, the maid hurriedly said, Master, Madam, that's not it. It's Miss who was wrong tonight. Ning Yaohua's expression immediately changed. What? Wronged? Who dares to do that to my precious daughter? Is it that brat Su Yin? The maid shook her head. How could it be young Master Su? Young Master Su dotes on Miss. Then what's going on? Hurry up and tell us. Zhuang Lingyu said anxiously. Master, Madam, what happened tonight is too complicated. I can't explain it in a short time. You can watch it yourself. The maid took out her phone and clicked on a video. Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu looked at each other, then quickly took the phone and started watching. The two of them quickly browsed through the video, and their expressions became more and more unpleasant. The maid said angrily, Master, Madam, did you see that? Tonight was supposed to be young Master Su's proposal to our eldest Mississippi. He had meticulously prepared it for a long time. In the end, second Miss came out to make trouble time and time again. Fortunately, our eldest Miss had a good temper, so she endured and endured until she finally couldn't take it anymore. Young Miss must have been so sad at that time. It was supposed to be the happiest moment, but it was all ruined by second Miss. In the end, he was laughed at by so many people at the scene, and it was even spread on the internet. Now this video is all over the internet, that's why I saw it. In fact, although this video was downloaded from the internet, it had been edited to deliberately omit the parts where Feng Yu repeatedly provoked him. Just as Xiao Ling was complaining, Ning Shueluo's stern voice came from behind. Little Ling, who allowed you to spout nonsense here? Xiao Ling secretly exchanged glances with Ning Shueluo, then made a pitiful expression. Young mistress, I'm sorry, but what I said was the truth. I'm just angry. Chapter 380. Shueluo, why are you blaming her? Xiaoling didn't say anything wrong. Zhuang Lingyu held her daughter's hand and looked at her pale face. Her face was full of heartache. I didn't expect something like this to happen. You've been wronged. Ning Shueluo's face was full of forbearance. Mom, I'm not wronged. I don't care about what happened tonight at all. As long as Brother Yin treats me well, I don't care what other people think of me. I really like Brother Yin. I'm not using him as a tool to show off. It's just that Sister's actions tonight really hurt me. I really don't know why she's treating me like this. Xiaoling, who was at the side, quickly interjected, Missy, do you still need to ask? Young Master Su is proposing to you tonight. It would be strange if second Miss didn't cause trouble, okay? She just can't stand to see you do well. Ning Yaohua's face immediately darkened. That girl is too outrageous. Now, people don't know that they are sisters. If they know, they will see the two sisters fighting in front of outsiders. What kind of people will that be? Ning Shueluo held back her tears. It's my fault for misunderstanding my sister about Kaijing, but I've done everything I can. I've tried my best to help her, but she rejected me every time. Now, my sister's misunderstanding of me is getting deeper and deeper. I really don't know what to do, Zhuang Lingyu sighed. Sigh, silly child. Mom has already told you many times. Why do you care so much about what she thinks? Don't you know her personality? It's best if you don't care about her. Ning Shueluo immediately said with a serious expression, Of course I care because she's my parents' biological daughter. I care about her as much as I care about my parents. I don't want there to be any conflict between the two of you because of me. Ning Yaohua was moved. Shueluo, Dad really doesn't know what to say to you. If Ningxi was half as sensible as you, I sigh. Ning Shueluo revealed a somewhat gloomy expression. Sometimes, I really think that I should go back to the Tang family. Zhuang Lingyu immediately grabbed her hand nervously. Shueluo, How could you say something like that? Are you going to abandon your mother? But my sister might only be willing to come back if I'm gone. I think I'm the bane of your family's reunion. Ning Shualua could not help but burst into tears. Zhuang Lingyu hurriedly hugs her and pacifies her. Shueluo, how could you say such a thing? You are mother's most beloved daughter. You are our Ning family's lucky star. Ever since you were born, our Ning family's business has been getting better and better. Last time, it was you who introduced Boss Wang. Have you forgotten? Ning Yahua became nervous when he heard that Ning Shualua wanted to go back to the Tang family. Don't ever talk about yourself like that again. Could Master Long personally tell your fortune for you be wrong? You are the lucky star of our Ning family. No one can drive you away. Zhuang Lingyu helped her wipe her tears. Shueluo, Daddy and Mommy know that you have been wrong today. Don't be sad. Tonight is just a proposal. What's the big deal? Wait until your official engagement banquet. That's the real glory. Yes, when the time comes, no one will be able to compete with you. I will personally go and discuss with the Su family. Chapter 381. Listening to Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu's solemn promise, Ning Shui's eyes flashed with an imperceptible smile. Ning Yaohua and Zhuang Lingyu were not a big deal. The most important thing was that there was Su Yimo, who was said to have a powerful background. If Su Yimo played her role, Ning Shi would have no chance to turn the tables. She had offended the senior management of Lu Enterprises. What good could she do? Su Yimo had been too proud to argue with Ning Shi before, but after tonight's incident, would she still leave Ning Shi alone? Then she would just have to sit back and watch the tigers fight. Ha, Ning Shi, I'll wait and see how you die. After finishing filming, Ning Shi rested at home for 3 days. Apart from the routine exercise and eating, she slept like a pig. It wasn't until the 3rd day that she finally felt the half of her soul that she had left in Ming Changa's body come back, as well as the half that had been scared away. However, the next second, she received a ding sound. Because of a text message, her soul was scared away again. Ningxi, are you free tomorrow? Xiaobao's enrollment is done. Lu Baikai. Ningxi stared blankly at Lu Baikai's name and didn't reply for a long time. Although the party was over, it didn't mean that the crisis was over. Instead, it gave her a big wake-up call. That guy not only wanted to tease her, but also wanted to threaten and warn her. He wanted to warn her that even if he was thousands of miles away, he could still reach her. Ningxi pinched between her eyebrows, took out her cell phone, and found a dusty number in the phone book. The phone only rang once before it was immediately connected. Ningxi was stunned for a moment before she reacted. She hurriedly said, "Hello, Annie. Hello? Brother Shi. It's really you. How long has it been since you last contacted me?" Good girl. Hearing the girl's excited voice, Ningxi's eyes softened. "Brother Shi, I miss you so much. But before you left, you said you wanted to say goodbye to the past and start a new life. So I didn't dare to disturb you. Nor did I dare to contact you." The girl's voice was sad. Ningxi chuckled. "Silly girl, I was pretending to be pretentious. You really believe it?" "What?" Annie sounded as if she had suffered a huge blow. "So I've been holding it in for so long without daring to contact you?" Ningxi was overjoyed. "Ha ha ha. I'm just teasing you. Why are you still so gullible?" "You're teasing me again. Brother Shi, you're too much." Okay, I'm not playing anymore. Let's talk business. I called you this time to ask you about something." Ningxi's tone became serious. Annie hurriedly said seriously, "What's the matter, Brother Shi? I'll tell you everything I know." Ningxi scratched her head and asked, "Well, it's about your boss. Has he been behaving strangely recently?" Annie was stunned. She stammered, this. The impatient Ningxi couldn't wait any longer. "In the past, I was indeed carefree and unrestrained, but my heart was like a rootless duckweed. I couldn't find the meaning of my existence. Although there are many constraints and difficulties in my life now, I like this kind of challenge. I like this feeling of having a goal. Do you understand? Brother Shi, are you serious? Or are you just showing off? Annie's weak and uncertain voice came from the other end of the phone. Ningxi, all right, she was wrong. She shouldn't have teased the innocent little girl. She had finally dug a pit for herself. Chapter 383. After hanging up the phone, Ningxi lay back on the bed. She didn't get much useful information from this phone call, but she was sure that the guy had been active in China recently. If it weren't for the accident with the goods, he would have been ready to go back to China. After taking a deep breath, Ningxi finally replied to Lu Tingxiao with a text message. Ningxi, I'm sorry, Boss Lu. I have work tomorrow. I don't think I can go. Please say sorry to Xiao Bao for me. After replying, she threw the phone aside, not daring to look at Lu Tingxiao's reply. The next morning, in front of a private kindergarten, there was a lot of crying children who didn't want to go to school and didn't want their parents to leave. At first, only one child cried, but all the other children were infected and cried. The teachers and parents were busy trying to persuade and coax one child. When they finally persuaded one child, all the previous efforts were wasted when the child next to him cried. In this chaos, the most eye-catching one was the expressionless little bun with a small school bag on his back. The little fellow held Papa's hand and didn't even look at the chaos over there. He just stared at the direction of the road leading to the school. Oh, children, don't cry. Look how obedient that child is. He's not crying at all. A teacher pointed in the direction of Xiao Bao for the children to see. The children all looked in Xiao Bao's direction. In the end, they saw a cold and terrifying man next to Xiao Bao. In the next second, all the children cried even louder. Wow, that child was caught by the devil. Wow, Mommy, I'm scared. Wow, Papa, don't go. I'm scared. The teachers, the parents. Seeing that the situation was getting out of control, the teacher could only walk to Lu Tingxiao, trembling, out of duty. This, parent, the children are a little scared of you. Can you leave first? As soon as he finished speaking, the aura around Lu Tingxiao became even more frightening. The female teacher suddenly shrank and didn't dare to say anything else. Sob, 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 sob. I'm scared too. I'm about to cry. Lu Tingxiao lowered his eyes, looked at his son's little head, and said, Don't wait. She won't come. Xiao Bao raised his head and glared at his papa angrily. Then, he resolutely continued to stand where he was. Time slowly ticked by. The time for class was getting closer and closer. The children's parents had already begun to urge their children to hurry up and go to class. Ningxi still didn't come. Let's go in, Lu Tingxiao said again. This time, little Baozi buried his head and scribbled a few words. He raised it up for Papa to see. Xiao Bao, don't go to school. Lu Tingxiao narrowed his eyes and his face darkened. You're not a 3-year-old anymore. As a man, are you going to go back on your word? Little Baozi buried his head and continued to write. Xiao Bao is a child. A 5-year-old was still a child. Xiao Bao is not a man. After she finished writing, she kept a straight face and had an expression that said, Papa, don't try to use this trick on me again. What an impassioned and forceful Xiao Bao is not a man, Lu Tingxiao. Sigh, kids are getting harder to fool as they grow up. At the same time, in a corner not far from the school, a black car was quietly parked. Chapter 384. Lu Chongshan pretended to be calm, but Yin Rui couldn't help urging Xing Wu, who was holding a pair of binoculars. Xing Wu, have you seen it clearly? What's going on with Xiao Bao? The other kids have already gone to class. Why is Xiao Bao still standing there? Is there a problem? Lu Chongshan's expression was solemn. Xing Wu looked at it for a while and hurriedly explained to his parents, Young master is in trouble. I saw young master write a sentence saying that he doesn't want to go to school anymore. Young master tried to persuade him, but it didn't work. Lu Chongshan's face darkened. See, I knew that woman's words wouldn't work, but Xiao Bao still doesn't want to go to school. What should we do? Wasn't he fine last night? He came to the school gate this morning. Why did he suddenly stop going? Yin Rui was anxious. Hearing their conversation, Xingwu coughed and said, "It seems that young master doesn't want to go to school because Miss Ningxi didn't come today." Hearing their conversation, Xingwu coughed and said, "The reason why young master suddenly doesn't want to go to school is that Miss Ningxi didn't come today. Young master is probably hoping that Miss Ning will come to see him off today. He must be throwing a tantrum." Hearing this, Lu Chongshan immediately became angry. "Then why didn't she come? Don't tell me you want me to invite her myself? Why don't we invite her? Xiaobao school is more important." Yin Rui said hurriedly. "Xiaobao schooling is more important." Yin Rui hurriedly said. "Don't come up with ideas." Yin Rui said hurriedly. Lu Chongshan refused. "Absolutely not. Don't come up with ideas. This time, it will be worse next time. She will point to this and make even more unreasonable demands. Then, what should we do?" Yin Rui didn't know what to do. She had been full of hope, but now she was full of disappointment. "Even if we invite her, I'm afraid she won't come, because she knows very well that if Xiaobao completely recovers, she will be worthless. She won't want Xiaobao to recover so quickly," Lu Chongshan said firmly. After listening to Lu Chongshan's explanation, Yin Rui finally understood. Not far away, the father and son were also anxious. Lu Tingxiao asked, "Are you sure you don't want to go to school?" Xiaobao nodded affirmatively. "I'm not going anymore." There was no more love. Lu Tingxiao helplessly looked at his son's incomparably determined little face. He understood his son's character. Once the little guy had made up his mind, there was no way to persuade him. Thus, he could only drag his son back. "Then let's go home." Little Bun clenched his fists, but still stood in place, unwilling to move. Until the bell for class rang. Aunt Xiaoxi really wouldn't come. The little guy's big eyes were filled with sadness. He drooped his little head and mechanically followed his papa, walking back step by step. However, right at this moment, a clear and melodious voice suddenly resounded from the end of the road in the distance. "Darling little Bao." This voice it was Aunt Xiaoxi. Xiao Bao's little face suddenly burst forth with a strange radiance. He twisted his body and broke free from his papa's hand, then ran towards the direction of the sound. Following the sound of hurried footsteps, Lu Tingxiao looked up and saw that the girl was wearing Xiao Bao's favorite pink dress and a pink crystal hair clip. She was jogging toward the school. 30,000 words. I'm so tired. For the sake of the author writing so hard, please give me a monthly ticket, double the monthly ticket during the National Day period. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.